is the Herd Line News.
Colin, Kyrie Irving hasn't been eager to discuss his time in Cleveland, but he's settled into his second season in Boston.
Yeah.
And he's recently opened up a little bit more. He told Bleacher Report, "I think it was the best move for my career, honestly, because it wasn't about any particular person or anything like that. It was just time. It was just time. It may not have looked time for everyone else, but for me, it was time. I think it was the best thing I've done, honestly."
All right. Well, he went and got a great coach and a roster full of really good players. So I think leaving LeBron is generally a mistake, but I will say this. He didn't know he was going to end up in Boston. He landed on his feet. That's about the best place you could go as a point guard to a roster. I got Jaylen Brown in the wing. I got Jaylen Brown can defend in the backcourt because Kyrie can't defend. I got Tatum. I got Gordon Hayward. I got Al Horford. So, I mean, he ended up. It's one of those things. I wouldn't have done it, but he ended up at the right place.
Well, everything happens for a reason, right? Like when he first did it, everyone was freaking out. How can you leave LeBron? You just don't want to deal with the pressure. You're a me guy and all those things, right? And he ends up in Boston. And who knows? Maybe he's just more happy personally there. And what if he would have stayed in Cleveland and then LeBron leaves for the Lakers and now he's stuck in Cleveland?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've said this about LeBron. LeBron has told us multiple times what he is. And what he is not loyal. And so Kyrie Irving's like, okay, you're sending me messages. I'm watching your messages. And your messages are, I'm going to leave on my terms. And Kyrie said, I'm going to beat you to the punch. I'm going to beat you to it. Now, Kyrie didn't know he was going to end up in Boston. Again, sometimes you make a decision I don't love, but it works out perfectly.
Well, you take a risk.
It worked out perfectly.
So we keep talking about the culture change Baker Mayfield has initiated in Cleveland, and former All-Pro offensive lineman Joe Thomas thinks Baker is their very long-term answer.
All right.
Well, what I think is that the Browns have found the quarterback for the next 15 years that fans can get excited about and show up on Sundays thinking that no matter who the opponent is, we have a chance to win this because we've got a guy in that position that gives us that chance.
Now, he blocked for 21 quarterbacks.
Yeah. He's right. No, Baker is their guy. But I do believe what I said earlier is that the longer you stay in college, Kyle Kuzma, Lakers, stayed in college for 4 years. He's much closer to his ceiling. Brandon Ingram played 1 year of college, came out. Brandon's growth is going to be exponentially higher. So Brandon Ingram this year, you'll notice it very quickly, is a better player than Kyle Kuzma. Last year, it felt like Kuzma was slightly better. This year, you'll notice very quickly, Ingram is better. Kuzma's much closer because he spent 4 years in college to his ceiling. Baker spent 5 years in college. Rosen, Allen, and Darnold all left 2 years on the table in college. So I think Baker's closer to his ceiling, but I still think he has some room to grow, and I think he's going to be around for a decade.
I think the biggest thing for this year for Baker is not necessarily to get the Browns to the playoffs or anything ridiculous. Just be consistent in your play, win some games, and change the culture in Cleveland. Nobody's expecting any great things from the Cleveland Browns this year. If you can do those three things, I feel like that's an accomplished year.
I predicted the Jets would be 7-9 with Sam Darnold. I predicted the Browns would be 6-10. I still think the Browns are probably 6-10 or 7-9. I'll probably go to 7-9. I think their defense is. I think they're. But remember, their division's tough. They got Cincinnati twice.
7-9 is a wildly drastic improvement for them. So, and then I'm not huge on moral victories, but you can't expect them to turn around into a Super Bowl team in 1 year. So finally, the Cowboys. Cole Beasley started it off by mentioning the Cowboys receivers are getting open. Then Alan Hearns took it a step further, taking a shot at the play calling. But Ezekiel Elliott says there is no blame game happening in the locker room.
I mean, there hasn't been any finger pointing at all. You know what I mean? Even when, as an offense, we've struggled this year. And when we go over to defense, like, hey, we're sorry. We didn't hold up our end. You know what I mean? There's more. No, we need to do more. You know what I mean? We need to go out there and win that game. You guys don't have to go out there and win it. We were in a position to go out there and win it. So, there's enough accountability in this locker room and that, there's not going to be any finger pointing. The guy that may get pointed out is going to say, hey, that's on me. He's not going to need anyone to go over there and say, hey, you need to get your together.
It's a really crucial year for the Cowboys, the way that they are assembled right now.
They got a lot of decisions.
Yes.
There's 3 good quarterbacks coming out of college. Justin Herbert from Oregon will go number 1. And most teams don't need a quarterback. There are not many left. There are not many left. You can count it on. I'd ask everybody right now, who needs a quarterback?
Giants.
Well, if they're willing to do it, but the Giants are obvious, and I think the Cowboys have to look into drafting one. I mean, once the Saints went and got Teddy Bridgewater, Carolina doesn't, Atlanta doesn't. I don't think Tampa Bay does.
I mean, you can always be in the market for a good backup quarterback, but
I'm talking first-round guys.
Yeah, first-round guys.
And there's going to be 3 guys taken in the first round. The kid at Oregon's going to be number 1, and then you can figure out who is after that. But they got big questions in Dallas with their coach and with their quarterback.
Crucial year.
Joey with the news.
Well, that's the news.
And thanks for stopping by.
The Herd Lie News.
By the way, if you didn't hear Greg Cosell today, he was about as good as he's ever been on our show. He was absolutely